Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. It's me, Addy, again, and I hope you guys are doing alright. Lately, we've been playing a lot of Tales of Arise on Twitch, which I've been having a lot of fun with, but as you can probably tell from the title of this video, today's review isn't going to be on Tales of Arise, although I will be making one on it shortly, as soon as I beat the damn game, that is. Today we're actually going to be reviewing a game called Sifu. Now, I took a bit of a pause from playing Tales of Arise on my Xbox because a couple of days ago, I got a new gaming PC on top of the computer I already used to stream. And so now I have officially entered the world of dual PC streaming, which is freaking awesome, man. I'm really excited about that. I was and still am incredibly hyped about this since everything has been up and running like a dream so far. And there are just so many crazy new possibilities for what we can stream in the future now, besides just the stuff we play on console. So hell yeah, man, let's go. But yeah, anywho, with that out of the way, Sifu was the first game we played on the new PC to test everything out, and holy crap. Not only did the stream go amazingly well, but the game was incredibly fun to play too, and I had a blast with it. Now, admittedly, I had never actually heard of Sifu until a day or so before I played it. I hadn't actually seen any of its trailers or promotional material before its recent release, and the game pretty much popped out of thin air for me when I saw a bunch of streamers playing it. And from the small snippets of gameplay I caught, I was immediately hooked and just knew I had to try it for myself. The combat alone was enough to make me want to fire this game up ASAP, and I'm so glad that I did. This game essentially takes the best of two things I love: the legendary martial arts film Enter the Dragon, and my favorite action series of all time, John Wick, and mixes them up to create this epic kung fu infused modern take on the beat-em-up genre. From the very beginning, this game throws you into fast-paced, frenetic slugfests with various crooks and criminals across China, and you play as the young, but not young for long, Sifu, who is out for blood and revenge for the murder of his father. As you venture through 5 rather short but insanely sweet levels, you'll Bruce Lee your ass through a bunch of admittedly really difficult enemies and bosses, and I'm not even kidding when I say that this game is brutally difficult the first time you play it. And by the second level alone, you'll really consider putting this down if you don't have the patience for challenging games. What? What the fuck? Just like that? Just like falling off the second story? Kill me ASAP? Oh my lord. Feels bad, man. You are going to die a lot, but you're also going to hit hard and fast a lot in what is probably some of the coolest kung fu combat I've personally ever experienced in a video game. Combat in Sifu reminded me a lot of Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, which also had a combat system I really loved. And these two games aren't similar just because of their punishing yet really fun level of difficulty, but rather because of their mechanics. Just like Sekiro, Sifu features a posture bar for both the main character and all the enemies and bosses, which can be broken down via punches and parries for some really cool looking finishers. And on top of this, the combos and moves you can do feel amazing to pull off. With each swift hit feeling so damn raw and visceral, the kung fu in this game is masterfully implemented and is what sells the game at the end of the day for me. But in my opinion, what Sifu excels at the most in terms of combat is its visual splendor. Seriously, man, not only does this game have a simple yet mesmerizing art style overall, but it makes violent action look delightfully stylish and magnificent in the same way that the John Wick film series does. And that's because it feels like you're watching a very well choreographed action movie with these amazing fight sequences that you get to savor every moment of without cheap jump cuts every 2 seconds. Except here you actually get to play and experience it. It's really cool. A very notable example of that is the 2 hallway fights in the game that are very reminiscent of this film called Oldboy. These were both hands down my favorite fight sequences in the game and gave me freaking chills. I straight up felt like a badass taking down all the enemies coming at me, and when combat in a game can be that chills inducing for me, it is an absolute 10 out of 10 in the aesthetics department. So yeah, ultimately this game makes you feel like you're playing as John Wick with the fists of Bruce Lee, and that's fucking awesome, man. And I'm not even the first person to think of that, because apparently there are modders out there who have replaced Sifu's in-game model with that of John Wick's, which I think is really, really cool. So yeah, the combat and how it looks and feels is easily my favorite part of this game. But my respect for this game doesn't just end there, and that's because it's also worth mentioning the handful of super unique and interesting mechanics that this game brings to the table. And the elephant in the room for that is the aging mechanic. Whenever you die in this game, instead of restarting from a traditional checkpoint, you actually get to come back to life and carry on from where you left off, except you're now going to be a little bit older. And that is due to a special amulet belonging to Sifu that allows him to cheat death at the cost of his age. And the more you die, the faster you age until you're 7 or older, at which point you'll have to restart the level entirely if you die again. Nope. 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 Feels fucking bad. 69. Nice. Game is just giving you the middle finger at this point. Oh my god. Well, end of the line. Yeah, this time for good. I loved this mechanic. It essentially turned a standard beat 'em up into a beat 'em up with elements of a roguelike in the coolest way possible. As Sifu gets older, the stakes become greater as his current age carries over across each level, so the challenge in this game lies in trying to complete each level at the lowest age possible, or in other words, with as few deaths as possible, so that you'll have more attempts overall when you start to get into the much tougher levels of the game. What's really dope about all this in my opinion is that Sifu's age at specific points in the game can be used as a way to quantify your skill and in turn how long the game will take for you to beat. As an example, if you struggle a lot and finish level 1 for the first time at say 69 years old, then that means you're kinda a scrub like 90% of the people who play this game, myself included, and have got to get better by repeating a level over and over again until you can beat it at a much younger age to make the future levels easier. And this can take you a lot of time, possibly anywhere between 10 to 20 hours. But on the flip side, if you're a pro epic gamer and finish level 1 at 20 years old on your first run, which is the youngest stage in the game by the way, you're pretty much on your way to speedrunning the hell out of this game in less than 7 hours or so. For me personally, this game took 11 hours across 2 streams. I was by no means good at this game and had to try my ass off to beat it, but I love that. I think it's really cool how despite the levels having a small indie-sized amounts of content, their length can still get up to AAA levels of playtime depending on your skill. Another thing worth mentioning, which is really cool in my opinion, is that even though getting old in this game is bad in the grand scheme of things, there are certain factors that are still there to give you a leg up in spite of that, such as being able to deal increased damage for decreased health as you age, and also the sheer fact that you can continue unlocking a variety of combat skills and shrine upgrades that you can unlock permanently for both score and XP as you defeat enemies. So basically, even though you're getting your ass handed to you, you still get to keep some progression in the form of unlocked skills permanently in classic roguelike fashion. I dig it. But to me, the icing on the cake here though are the visuals of it all. I freaking love that you start the game in your early 20s looking like a youngster as you should, and then as you die and get older, the physical appearance of your character begins to change on the fly. It's pretty damn neat. So yeah, I think that the age mechanic and the way that it's designed and influences all other systems in the game is done magnificently. At the end of the day, Sifu is definitely a very fast-paced game by nature with its speedy kung fu and the fact that you age so quickly over time. But one other area impacted by this pacing that I liked a lot is the storytelling. The story in Sifu is simple and is introduced in a very straightforward and effective way. As mentioned earlier, you're out for revenge for the death of your father at the hands of his former student and his 4 accomplices, all of whom are bosses you'll face across the 5 levels of the game. And the game conveys this very quickly and beautifully at the start with a sequence that reminded me a lot of a particular scene from the second Kill Bill movie. Against a red backdrop, Sifu trains and imagines fighting his targets while you, as the player, control him as the game teaches you about its mechanics. And then, just like that, you get to dive right into each level to take on Sifu's enemies. Granted, you do make periodic stops at Sifu's apartment between each level, but even then, it never once feels like the game is breaking momentum, and I love that. So yeah, if you couldn't already tell, I think Sifu is a pretty damn awesome game. The only one system I had a gripe with in this game were the shrine upgrades and how they tied in with progression. The upgrades themselves are fine, but there were times when I went back to previous levels to complete them at a lower age and respec my shrine upgrades, only to then find out something really odd happening, where in the next level I retained my new lowest age from the previous ones, but didn't keep any of my new shrine upgrades. I'm really not sure if this was an oversight or bug, but as it stands, progression in this game is a tiny bit wonky right now and hard to follow, which is definitely annoying because I spent a good amount of time in my stream trying to get the best possible upgrades and age on level 1, which I did, but then realized that for some reason, none of it carried over. But despite these flaws, I have no doubt that developer Slowclap will iron these out in a future patch and make this already incredible game even better. Guys, I'm gonna have to give Sifu the highest possible 9 out of 10 that I can. I really did want to give it a 10, but because of those very small yet jarring issues I ran into with progression and shrine upgrades, I had to take off a point here. But overall, I'm just so glad I came to find out about this game and played it. It was an extremely pleasant surprise for me, and is definitely my favorite game of the year so far. It just might also be my favorite martial arts or beat-em-up game in general, like, ever. With Sifu, 2022 is shaping up to be a great year for games, and I can't wait to experience what comes next. But yeah, thanks for watching this review video, you guys. I highly recommend you try out Sifu, and remember you can check out the VODs for my playthrough both on my Twitch and second YouTube channel, which I've linked below, and please feel free to follow me if you're enjoying my content. I'd greatly appreciate it. Until the next one, guys, keep on keeping on. Peace out.